Sa panghuli po, maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig. Pero sa panghuli po, we are happy to invite you to join us in celebrating the 125th Philippine Civil Service anniversary this September 2025. Our theme is Bawat Kawani, Lingkod Bayani. Ang puso, dangal at galing ay para sa bayan. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Marilyn Barua Yap. Thank you for enlightening the committee with regard to the accomplishments of the Civil Service Commission as well as the proposed budget for year 2026. Siguro, we just wanted to highlight the CSC receiving the highest score in terms of the DBM performance review that was conducted. That's actually it's something that needs to be lauded, especially in terms of the budget utilization. 100% budget utilization is not an easy feat to achieve. So we would like to commend the Civil Service Commission and Chairperson Barua Yap for that accomplishment.
Salamat po, pero I would like, ang sabi nga nila, we stand on the shoulders of our predecessors. Ito po ay 2024. Ang chairman po ng CSC ay si Chairman Carlo Nograles.
Also a colleague, our colleague here in the House.
He was formerly a chairperson also of the Committee on Appropriations.
Kaya maganda yung budget utilization. He understands, Kong Carlo understands the importance of making sure the budget entrusted to the agency is fully utilized. So thank you very much po. I would like to turn over the floor to Vice Chair Charisse Hernandez to facilitate the interpellations from our members today. Please, Vice Chair Charisse Hernandez, please recognize the members who are listed for interpellation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And may I just remind everyone, especially our distinguished colleagues, that each member is allotted 5 minutes for questioning interpellation, excluding the responses from our resource persons. And when you hear the first bell, it indicates that you have 30 seconds left to conclude your questions. And then the second bell, it signifies the lapse of your allotted time. And in accordance with the long-standing and respected tradition of the House of Representatives, before that, again, the committee invites now the questions from our dearest and distinguished members, particularly on the utilization of the previous budget and the proposed allocation for the fiscal year 2026. And we should also take a look at the Philippine Service Civil Service Modernization Project, as discussed earlier. And of course, we encourage discussions on its objectives, implementation plans, and how this initiative will shape the civil service in the coming budget years. Chairperson Marilyn Biap and her team are requested to provide the necessary clarifications and to respond directly and to the issues at hand to ensure that this committee and the public following this proceeding are fully informed and of the anticipated impact of the proposed budget on the development of a professional, efficient, and responsive bureaucracy. So in accordance with the long-standing, yet again, and respected tradition of the House of Representatives to accord preferential treatment to the minority members, followed by the independent and majority members in an alternating manner, we now recognize, with indulgence of our Madam Chair, we now recognize from the minority, Honorable Representative Elijah San Fernando.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you po, ma'am, sa inyong presentation. Dito po sa presentation nyo sa Total Human Resource in the Bureaucracy, from June 2022 to 2025, may additional na 277,791 na JO and COS sa government workforce. So let us talk about the JO and COS po, ma'am. Now, according to the Joint Circulars number 1, series of 2017, and Joint Circular number 2, series of 2020, yan po yung rules and regulations governing the JO and COS workers. For the benefit po ng ating mga tagapakinig at ng ating mga kasama dito, can you define to us po what is JO and what is COS? At ano yung difference between JO and COS, Madam Chair?
Chair,
To Commissioner.
Chairperson. Okay, can you, okay, again?
Um, I
You
will
can go
give
ahead.
the, medyo pahingayin ko lang po. Nahabol na po ako ng age. Ah, can I give the floor to Commissioner Ryan Acosta, please? Sa JOs and COs natin. The question is ano ang JOs at saka COs? Job orders and contract of service workers.
Thank you, with the permission of the Honorable Chair. There are various distinctions of JOs and COS as compared to the permanent and non-career employees. As to funding source, for example, JOs and COS, we get the funding source from the MOE, while
Siya
for
personal services,
while
kasi-
for the permanent and career employees, we get from PS. May mahabang diskusyon po mamaya doon dahil importante po yung funding source pagdating sa reason kung bakit dumadami yung JOs and COS, especially for LGUs. Employment status, JOs and COS, they do not enjoy employee-employer relationship with agencies.
They are not considered employees of course.
And then engagement and appointment, JOs and COS are engaged through contracts, while for regular employees, they are issued CSC prescribed appointments. So basically, yun po yung distinctions, Honorable Chair and Kong, sa JOs compared to career or permanent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kasi nakasulat doon, para lang po sa kalinawan, no? Pag COS, engagement of services of an individual as consultant, learning service provider, or technical expert to undertake special project or jobs within a specific period. At ang JO naman, yan yung mga pakyaw or emergency jobs for a short duration and for a specific piece of work. Would you agree? Tama po yun, no? Yung...
Yes.
Okay po. Now, on the Joint Circular number 1, series of 2017 and the updates thereof, sabi, COS and JO workers should not, in any case, be made to perform functions which are part of the job description of the agency's existing regular employees. Alam niyo po, sa practice, hindi nangyayari to. Hindi po nagaganap to. Kahit pumunta po kayo sa kahit anong ahensya ng gobyerno, pumunta ka sa LGU, makikita niyo po dyan, yung mga JO at COS routinely performing core and substantive functions like that of a regular employee. Mag-agree po ba kayo dito, Madam Chair?
Hindi po namin pwedeng i-generalize na lahat ng JOs and COS because even in our offices, Honorable Kong, may mga COS po kami who we engage for purposes lang of addressing our backlogs of cases. Pagtapos doon, imprudent na po kasi mag-maintain ng that number of people na maggagawa ng cases, for example, to assist us in drafting decisions and study cases kung naubos na po namin yung backlog. So in those limited situations po, beneficial po ang JOs and COS. Pero I agree po with you na medyo talamak po yung engagement ng COS and JOs to circumvent yung civil service laws natin.
Thank you po, Madam Chair. Maganda pong admission yun from our colleagues from CSC na talagang talamak ang JO at COS sa ating gobyerno. We will go into that later po. So paano po minomonitor ngayon ng CSC at ini-enforce ng CSC itong Joint Circular number 1 series of 2017 and Joint Circular number 2 series of 2020. So what are the actions for the violations po dito?
If you notice po, yung joint circular po was executed by COA and DBM. So largely it's a recognition na yung JOS and COs po within the jurisdiction of COA and DBM. Very limited po yung aming function dyan. In fact, wala na po kami dun sa joint memorandum circular.
Sa series of...
So kung kino-consult lang po kami tungkol dyan, dun lang kami nagbibigay ng opinion. Pero as regards the implementation of that joint circular, sir, hindi po kami.
Wala po sa saklaw ng trabaho po ng CSC.
Apa.
Thank you for that po. Now, punta naman po tayo dun sa pagiging talamak ng mga JOs at COS. No? Sabi po kasi sa Article 295 ng Labor Code natin, yan yung patungkol sa regular and casual employees. No? So kapag regular ka na manggagawa, tinatawag kang regular kapag usually necessary and desirable yung ginagawa mo sa isang kumpanya o kung kahit sa gobyerno. Except when the employment has been fixed for a specific project or where the work or service to be performed is seasonal in nature and the employment is for the duration of the season. Would you agree with me that most of the jobs of JOs and COS are usually necessary and desirable, Madam Chair?
We cannot answer with certainty po, kung ganun yung nangyayari, na desirable and necessary, na they are being engaged to perform the services which are supposed to be performed by regular plantilla positions. But we were not born yesterday naman po. So we acknowledge na mayroon mga nangyayaring ganun po talaga. And if you're going to permit us to explain, for example po sa LGUs, if we see the data po, ang LGUs po ay meron siyang vacant possessions na 75,512. Pero pag titingnan nyo yung JOs and COS sa LGUs, 650,571. Napakalaki po yung diferensya. Siguro naman po dun sa laking diferensya yon, there are JOs and COS there performing desirable and necessary na mga trabaho. Pero tingnan din natin yung perspective ng mga LGUs. Bakit nila ginagawa yon? Number one, ang nakikita po namin, yung PS limitation. They are only allowed to have 40% ng kanilang budget for PS. Paano po nila gagawin yung ibang mga trabaho ng LGUs kung ganun lang kaliit yung PS na pwede nilang gamitin sa kanilang mga empleyado? Kaya siguro po, napupuwersa sila na mag-engage ng COS and JOS para matugunan yung mga serbisyo doon, among others. Siyempre, hindi ko naman po tinatanggal na may mga bad eggs dyan na nag-engage lang para sa patronage politics nila. Pero, there are, sa laki ng number na to, I'm pretty sure, yung reality sa grounds, kailangan nila mag-engage ng COS kasi severely limited sila dun sa cap, dun sa PS savings.
Nga po. I agree with you and may part din na hindi po nag-agree. Karamihan po kasi ng mga trabaho ng mga JOs and COS usually necessary and desirable. Kaya nga paulit-ulit sila na paulit-ulit sila na nilalagay diyan Pero yung mga JO at COS 10 years doing the same job. Isn't it not usually necessary and desirable? Kaya nag-agree po ako dun sa binabanggit nyo. Kaya ako po tinatanong to dahil napakatalamak po talaga ng JOs at COS sa gobyerno natin. And would you agree with me that the number one violator of the labor code is the government itself?
If we are to use as a metric yung engagement ng COS or JOs, may validity po may valid point po kayo by saying na nagba-violate ng government yung labor code. Pero I don't know kung we can term ourselves as number one violator. Kasi we don't know kung ano yung metrics na gagawin natin.
Kaya ako po nabanggit na number one violator ang gobyerno ng labor code natin dahil yung sheer number, percentage to employment ng JO and COS, napakalaki po talaga ng mga JO at COS, mga contractual. So pag sinasabi natin, laban tayo sa contractualization, hindi lang tayo pumapatungkol sa private sector. Dapat para pamarisan ng pribadong sektor, yung gobyerno at tutulan ng contractualization, dapat mag-umpisa tayo sa sarili nating bakod. Would you agree with me, Madam Chair?
Yes, Kong.
Apo. Sige po. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Now, dito po sa inventory of government human resource, yan na po, nabanggit na natin kanina. Very alarming yung pagballoon. Actually, one-third ng civil servants natin in 2025 nasa JO and COS. Yet in last year's budget briefing, CSE said that there were 203,079 unfilled positions across the government. So why does this paradoxical situation persist where the number of temporary hires balloons while permanent positions remain vacant? Madam Chair.
If I may be allowed to answer,
Yes po.
Maraming mga reasons and depende po kung saan ahensya. Magkakaiba po kasi yung